Hello, am I live? Now, this is the first time on YouTube that I've tried to do this. I've been on Facebook before, so this is somewhat in the nature of an experiment over the next 30 minutes, if I can stick to 30 minutes, and I'm determined to. So I'm hoping I'm showing up on YouTube, but I've got no way of knowing really, apart from looking at the same time just to check. I also have spies in the next room to tell me if this is working. Okay, we have a first comment. Hello, Trish. So, okay, I'm on YouTube. It's working. Excellent. This is good news. And good evening, Paul. Superb. Well, I've got a cup of tea. It's all very civilized, really. I just got a dunk. Excuse me while I dunk. Well, since this is my first time on YouTube, I should introduce myself, although if you don't know who I am and you're watching this, it's a bit of a bizarre way of spending your Friday evening. It's 8 o'clock on a Friday. I'm Ian W. Sainsbury. I write books, amongst other things, but the writing books part of what I do is probably the main reason why, if anyone's watching this, they are watching it. So, cheers. At the start of lockdown, this is now, where are we? We're in November, aren't we? November the 27th, is it? I should check. I haven't got a clue. Yes, 27th of November 2020. And at the start of the first lockdown, back in the spring of this year, I decided to try live streaming on a Friday night, and I only intended to do it for, I don't know, a few weeks, just to get us through that initial period and have a chat to some of the people who read my books, which is lovely. And it seems to have gone on and on. I keep trying to stop, and people said lovely things and asked me to carry on. So the plan is, now I'm on YouTube, is to try and keep it a bit tighter to 30 minutes, talk about writing, answer any questions, generally be a bit silly. Also, of course, for those of you who have seen this on Facebook, Albie the dog will be featuring, as always. He's actually sitting here. No, not yet. That was brilliant. I just looked at him and he went like that, as if to pounce up on me, because he knows that on a Friday night he can leap up onto my lap and get treats. But you have to wait for your moment. You can't just do it right at the beginning, Albie. It'll be later, okay? It's all about timing, this. I mean, you're the star of the show. If I put you on right at the beginning, then there's no reason for anyone to watch any further. Speaking of which, if you're watching this in the future, I do hope it's slightly less locked down out there in future land, and that everything's going swimmingly for you. We have some, oh blimey, look at this. Now we get individual accounts on YouTube. So hi Sam, and hi Doug. Good to see you both. I've even made notes on what I might talk about. This is very organised this evening. It's quite different to normal. So over the course of the other weeks that I've been doing the live streams, I did quite early on have a few guests on to chat to. So had two writers, I think. I hope I'm remembering this right. We had Mark Stay came on. We had a chat, and he's one of the Marks who runs the Bestseller Experiment podcast and Facebook group and Empire. Also, he's an excellent writer. And then Philip C. Quaintrell came on, and we had a chat about his epic fantasy series, and we've known each other quite a while. In terms of our writing careers, we got in touch quite early on, and he's doing spectacularly well. And the other person I had a chat to was Paul Zerdin, who I've written with Paul for years. For those of you who don't know, he's a ventriloquist. He won America's Got Talent season 10 in 2015. I think I'm right. And yeah, we still write together. So we chatted about, we probably didn't chat about writing at all, but it was the usual silly conversation that we have. So maybe we'll try that again now I'm on YouTube, and we'll get some of those guests back again. I say we. Why am I saying we? It's not like it's some big production company. It's me, a Zoom microphone, an iMac, and a cup of tea, and an impatient dog. Very good point from Sam. Does being organised mean it will all go wrong tonight? Well, obviously, yeah, of course. And hello, Lee. Nice to see you. So, yes, over those last few months, doing this weekly podcast, not podcast, live stream, but it feels like a podcast, has meant I've developed my skills, and I've gone from completely clueless to the heights of mediocrity. You see, even the dog's leaving. I didn't say not at all. I just said later. Okay, don't worry. He'll come back when he knows there's food in the offing. Yeah. So yeah, now I've reached those heights of mediocrity, I feel that I can inflict myself on the wider world through YouTube. Look at that, back already. It's like he's saying, yeah, I'm really going. But you weren't, were you? You're back again. In a minute. Okay. So today, in this sort of 30-minute slot that I'm allocating myself, I thought it might be interesting to talk about, well, two things that happened today, really, which was sort of both ends of writing, if you like. When you're writing a first draft of something, and you are literally just coming up with the stuff from your brain, from your imagination, and putting it down on paper or on screen or dictating whatever it is your process is. That's the initial stage after you've got your idea and you're actually physically writing a book. And then there's the subsequent stages of writing, including the very last revised draft before it becomes a book. And they're very different ends of the process, but I did a bit of both today because I helped a friend with a piece of writing they were doing, and that was revising and editing a short story. So that was a completely different process to what I was doing this morning, which was just getting that first draft down of Bedlam Boy book. Which one am I on? I've done 1, 2 and 3 are out. 4 and 5 are written in first draft form, and so I'm on 6. Is that right? Yeah, that is right. Okay, dog, in a minute. Stop looking at me like that. You make me feel terrible. But first of all, some important questions. Hello, Frank. The tea I'm drinking. It's also got discussed earlier today. This is, I don't want to look at the label. I know what it is. It's Tulsi tea, which I was introduced to by a guitar playing friend of mine about, I don't know, it's probably about 18 months ago. And I drink tea black. I have done for a few years now, and don't drink much normal tea. English tea, which is hilariously how we describe tea from the foothills of India. But Tulsi tea is a mixture of, I don't know, some other stuff, which I like the taste of. There you go. That's a great explanation, isn't it? I agree, dogs are fickle creatures, and I agree they are spectacular as well. And hello to Liz, who's worked out how to say hello on YouTube. And that's a lovely comment from Sam. I don't know how this is normality exactly, but yeah, I agree the world is insane. And when the pubs reopen, I assume I'll be dropped like a hot potato. So, right, let's talk about what I was going to talk about, because one of the things about YouTube as opposed to Facebook, I know people watch the Facebook videos after the event because I get to see the numbers afterwards. But I think YouTube's a much better platform for that. I certainly, if I want to watch a video on a certain topic, often music or writing, then I can watch something that was recorded 7 years ago and still get something out of it. So I better make sure there's a bit of content in these, and what I should probably do is update the description so that it reflects what I talk about, so people can actually search for it if they want to. So let's talk about the first draft, and what I'll do is I'll just talk about what I was doing this morning, which was actually, I don't think Sage is here tonight, but she's often, more often than not, listening to the live stream and commenting. And she's another writer in South Africa, and one of the things she does is on her YouTube channel is run these writing sprints. So a writing sprint, for those who don't know, is when you take a slot of time, and for when Sage does it, it's 20 minutes. And a few of you get together, and these days it's virtually, and I think there are writers from lots of different countries, which is great. And so you all start writing at the same time. There's a little countdown, the timer on the screen. you've got 20 minutes. At the end of 20 minutes, a little alarm goes off, and you take a 5-minute break, and have a bit of a chat in the comments, see how many words you did if you want to share that, and then you do another 20-minute slot, and then another little chat, and then another 20-minute slot, and so on. And actually, it's a great way of doing it because it forces you to keep going. I find a lot of writing, especially getting that first draft down, it almost feels like you're tricking your mind into cooperating with you rather than standing in your way. So dictating for me for a while was that, and I will go back to it. Sometimes I'll use it, sometimes I won't. But it doesn't feel like writing if I'm just making stuff up and talking it. And the same with the writing sprints, because you're being propelled forward. You think, well, the clock's ticking, literally. So I need to get through this 20 minutes and get some words down. Then you don't finesse anything. You're not tempted to go back and play with a sentence because you can. You just think, no, I'll carry on, I'll fix it later. And that's the whole point of a first draft, is you fix it later. That's what you should be doing. If you think of your subconscious when you're writing as like a lunatic child, really, that's just running around saying, what's that? And why does that do that? And the way a 3-year-old's favourite word is why. That's how you should feel, I think, as a writer. It's a journey of discovery. You should be asking, why is my character doing that? Why has that happened? And also asking, what's going to happen next? And allowing for the unexpected to happen. So you're just letting that lunatic child part of your mind have pretty much free rein for that part of the process, within certain restrictions, because you know generally where you want the story to go. At least I do when I'm writing. I should say the usual proviso: every writer will give you different answers to these things. So this is how I write. And when you get to subsequent drafts, so the idea with letting the lunatic child take the reins is that you get that first draft done. So you actually finish something, whether that's a short story, a full novel, or a haiku. It doesn't matter. It gets finished, and then you can revise. So you've got words on the page. You can go back. You can read it, and often then you start to see what the book is actually about. Not completely, but there'll be things in it you think, that really comes through much more strongly than I thought when I was writing it. So you can then tinker with it, and that's when the lunatic child gets shut in a cupboard. Not completely locked away. I mean, sometimes you have to drag the kid out for it and ask it a few questions. It sounds terrible, doesn't it? This is a metaphor. I don't actually have a lunatic child locked in a cupboard, just in case you were worried. But yeah, you can ask him questions every now and then, or her, or them. But most of the time, keep them locked in the cupboard, because then your critical side has got to be in charge for subsequent drafts when you're focusing on what you actually wanted to say, because now you know far better, because you've got to the end of your story and you're cutting out the things that aren't helping that, and you may be adding things that occur to you as you go through that will help that story to be told. Let's have a look at the comments. I can see my wife's name, so I should imagine there'll be rude comments in there by now. And sure enough, there are. Thank you, Liz. Normality and Ian, not usually in the same sentence. Thank you. For those of you who don't know, DGW is dressing gown woman. That's Mrs. S's alter ego, because often during these live streams she's in the dressing gown. I'd rather sit in the kitchen with a beer and listen to you than sit in a pub and drink overpriced and mediocre beer. That is a good point. Thank you, I'm flattered, but it's a good point. But you can actually, you pay, what is it for a pint of beer in a pub now? Shows how rarely I actually go to a pub. If you buy a bottle of beer, it's going to be $3.50 or something, isn't it? When you think you can get 4 bottles of decent beer for a £5, you should do that and sit in the kitchen and listen to some idiot on YouTube. I absolutely agree. Oh, yep, sure enough. What's he wittering on about tonight, then? And I'm being defended by Trish. Interesting righty stuff. Look, it's all been given away, all my secrets. He's trying to keep it about writing this week. Yeah, I have been known to stray from the subject, but that's all part of the charm. But I did want to encourage people to ask questions about the writing side of things, because I mean, that's why you all started listening to it in the first place. So I'm going to try and keep it on topic a little bit and address things every week. You can remind me of that probably next week or the week after, when I completely go off piste. There we go. Frank has actually got a question. You see, questions on YouTube. This is good. You've been talking about your writing process. When you start a series, do you write a long-term map of where the series will go, or just let it evolve? It's a great question, Frank. I've written 2 series so far. There's the World Walker series and the Half Hero series. So the first one was 4 books, second one was 3. With World Walker, I very much just wrote that first book. I knew that it could carry on, but I didn't have any firm plans at all for it. I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know if I was going to be able to justify spending the time necessary to write a second book. Luckily, enough people liked it, bought it and read it and left reviews that I could write a second book. And yes, from the second book on, I had a better idea of where I was going. I did kind of map it out, but it was very loosely mapped out. I know there are writers who have to know where the whole series is going. I sort of, it's like I'm sending a flare up in a way. So you see the flare's going to end up over there somewhere, and I'm going to go and find it, and I know kind of where the route's going to take me, but not everything about that route, and actually where the flare ends up is often a surprise to me when I find it anyway. My endings usually change. However, every book's been different. I mean, I'm writing a series at the moment, and they are shorter books, the Bedlam Boys series. So I've written the first 3 are out there, and I'm currently writing 4, 5, and 6, and it looks like 7, 8, and 9 will happen as well, quite quickly after those. So they were actually much easier for me to think of in those chunks of 3. And each book was, in my head, is 2 episodes, so it's like a TV series. So it's a 6-episode TV series. So I think of it as or season, as they say in America, and we're increasingly saying over here. You have your season, you know the arc of the characters, you know where people are going, you know what story is going to be told, you know what's going to get wrapped up, what questions might be left unanswered, but you don't want to upset anyone by leaving 2 big questions unanswered, just enough to keep people intrigued enough to want to read more. So yeah, for each 3-book series, I've got a pretty clear plan, but I'm always adaptable that way, and I'm happy to let it change, because it always does change. Oh dear, already determined to divert my waffle. Liz is nagging me in a lovely way. Thank you, Liz. That's fine. Pre-read. So yes, you're in my advanced reading team, aren't you? So the next episode the first book is done. The second book is pretty much done, and the third one's going to get finished. I want to get all 3 finished before I even let the first one out to anyone, because until the third one's done, I won't know if there's anything I want to change in the first, if that makes sense. I'm pleased with the first. So it has. Who's read it? Mark Stay has read it, actually, because I wanted to get just an overview of if everything was working, which it is. So that's good. And yeah, if you do want to be an advanced reader for any of the books, email me. It's the best way. You've got certain responsibilities. It's not very onerous. I spell it out in the email, but you do have to, at the time that I need the readers, I sort of need to know that they're going to read it fairly quickly and get back to me with answering sort of certain questions about the book. And if you're able to do that and spare the time, then great. And if not, then that's fine. Maybe next time. But just email me. I'll put you on the list. Right. Let's see. What did I write in my notes? Child locked in cupboard. I think we've covered that. yeah, that's about it. Oh yeah, so I was going to actually talk just briefly about this friend of mine who's writing, who whose short story I went through, and we had a chat about it today, and I just made comments and a few suggested changes. I think the dog's trying to eat a plastic bottle. I'm sure you can hear that. Do you want to make that a bit louder, Albie? What are you doing? When you're, as a writer, it's quite nice actually when people send you their work and want comments on it. It's really helpful for your own writing, I think, because I get to read someone else's stuff and make comments using that critical part of the brain. And it's with someone else's work, it's really clear what needs doing. With your own, you need to find that separation as well. I know Stephen King puts his books, literally finishes a manuscript. I suppose these days it's metaphorically, but he puts them in a drawer. So he'll finish the first draft, goes in a drawer for 6 weeks. He won't look at it at all for 6 weeks, and then he comes back to it, and it's with a fresh eye and able to look past the things that would have been flooding his brain at the time of writing it, and now in perspective he's probably actually thinking of the next book by then, so he's able to come back to this one and be a bit more savage, I think, and cut things out. Now, not every one of us can afford the luxury of 6 weeks before you looking at a book, but I try and do something similar, but I certainly don't leave it 6 weeks. It's more like a few days. But I really try very hard to bring that critical side the same way as I can for another writer to my own writing when I do sit down and do that part. But it's still, even when I've done my second draft and I feel like I've been pretty savage and I've cut out some of the extraneous stuff, then I send it to other people, and also people edit it, and they'll make comments, and I'll think, oh yeah, I missed that bit. So the critical side, I'm quite happy to have people point out to me things that aren't working for them, so I can fix them. Right, now the dog's come in and out and is sort of desperate to be seen. I should let him have his moment of glory. Albie. Yes, it's that time. Come on. Oh, limey. Just give me a chance to get them. I will get them. Just, can you get your bum a bit more firm? Thank you. Right, this is Albie, for those of you who haven't met him before. Don't just look at the blinking treats, I'll get them. You know, what's going to happen is you're going to end up, could you just read the comments, Albie? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay, fantastic. You are just obsessed with food. Don't touch the keyboard, because you'll probably disconnect me from the internet, and that would be really bad. Now take it gently. ASMR in the mic. We need crunchy ones again. We haven't got crunchy ones this week. I'll try and get some crunchy ones before next time. One more. Okay. Good boy. Is that better? That's it. There's nothing else. You can't eat the microphone. You're having a good look around. There's nothing else here. I'm sorry. That's it. That's it. There's nothing. Yeah, you can sniff as much as you like, mate. There really is nothing else. Sorry. Okay. Do you want to go? Do you want to stay? It's very uncomfortable. I don't know if you're comfortable. I'm really not very comfortable. My tenders. Oh, I see. Okay. So, yes, as you can see from some of the comments from people who've been following this on Facebook, Albie's quite well known. He is the star of the show. And I'm quite happy to use the cute dog as a reason for people, hello Sage, to actually turn up and watch this. Very happy. Dog, how do you feel about it? You don't mind your status as live stream star. You're facing the wrong way though. You going to go? Okay, see you later. Bye then. Now, how am I doing for time? I felt like I was... Oh, there you go. 25 minutes in. So, Albie, do you have to do that? Dog! That's ridiculous. Someone's given him a 2-litre water bottle. And he loves them, but they are a little bit noisy. Right, so where are we? If there's any more questions, we've got maybe 4 or 5 minutes left. Fire them into the comments. It looks like we picked up a few people who haven't been on the Facebook stream, so that's great. I'm hoping YouTube will enable more people to come in and leave questions. I mean, if you've got questions in the comments and you're in the future, put them in the comments section down below, and I'll try and get round to reading them. Hope I'll be able to, and if I can answer them I will, even if I leave it to the next video and answer them there. But yeah, do. So Plokia, or Pilokia 66, the 66th of the Pilokia clan. That was a little Adam Buxton reference for those of you who are a fan. That's a great start. Plokia. Hello, I really like your books. I'm glad you wrote them. Me too. I mean genuinely, actually. Okay, I'm being flippant, but I'm so glad I wrote them. I think a lot of us, if you're a big reader, lots of people read a great deal of books, have a little secret dream of being a writer, but very few of us actually do anything about it. And I'm genuinely surprised. I'm one of those people who is someone who does something about it. But I have, and I'm really pleased I did, because it's last 4 years have been just terrific and a surprise. When I've been a professional musician all my life, and suddenly I'm a writer, and able to make stuff up in my head, tell people the stuff I've made up in my head, and they like it. I mean, that's just fantastic. It's been amazing. So thank you for reading. I appreciate it. And I'm glad you like the emails too. You may have realised if you signed up for my email list, which you can do, I should actually let you... I should probably do things like put my website in the description, shouldn't I? I'll get better at this. ianwsainsbury.com. You can sign up there, or on my Facebook page, to get emails from me, and they, as people get them, will tell you. Sometimes it is because I've got a new book out, and sometimes it's just because I feel like I should write an email to people, because I like to get in touch, and I am crap at marketing. I'm quite upfront about it. So it seems though, being completely honest and upfront about that people like it. So I should carry on doing that, and you carry on reading my books, and we'll see how it all goes. And dressing gown woman chimes in with the fact that it keeps me out of her way, which is an added bonus. And yeah, 4 years. It's 4.5 years since World Walker came out. It was end of March, was it? 2016. Which, yeah, I know, it's incredible, isn't it? There's a bit of conspiracy going on, getting people to write to get them out of the way of other people. I'm not sure I like the way this is going. Yeah, do it, Doug. You can always email it to me. I won't read it out on the next live stream, but if you want some comments, I'm certainly happy to look at it for you. It's 29 minutes past. Looks like I'm actually going to be able to stick to my initial intention to do 30 minutes. So, hope you enjoyed the first YouTube natter. I'm going to try and stick, as I have done with the Facebook ones, to 8 o'clock every Friday. That's 8 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time. Your mileage may vary if you're in America or Australia. We did have someone from Australia who was looking in every week. Fleur, I don't think she's here this evening, but that's pretty early morning for her. Not sure what time it is, Pacific time, or that's another thing. The current Bedlam Boy books involve a lot of driving across a big part of America, and of course there are different time zones. which you have to take into consideration when you're working out how long it might take someone to drive from, say, San Antonio to Santa Barbara, which someone does in this book, or from Santa Barbara to Washington, D.C., which is right across the country. So yeah, whenever you're watching this, whether it's live or later on YouTube, if you've got any questions that you want me to address on future live streams, anything you want me to talk about, stick them in the comments. I will have a read during the week, and it'll be handy to have some ideas for upcoming live streams. If you want me to chat to other people like I did on Facebook, occasionally I'll drop that in too. Whatever it takes to make it reasonably entertaining. Anyway, it was good to have a catch up, and I hope you have a really good weekend and a good week, and I'll see you next time. I'll be here and you will probably be there, and we'll all be in a virtual space together. So I should have a sign-off thing, isn't it, when people say, take care of each other and yourselves and each other. Yeah, but maybe slicker. Just, yeah, have a great week. See you next time.